Sheldon, you're up.
I'm Sheldon Sandler, and once again, I'm Sheldon Sandler. Is that better, Alan? And maybe it'll be better. Thank you. Now I've got three of them. I must be important. I'm with Bel Air Partners, and this is going to be a little bit different than talking about anything we've talked about today. I've worked with car dealers now for 20 years, and I'm representing the car dealer. Interesting, because nobody here talks about the car dealer. But listen to this. I'm going to give you some data about car dealers. It's a $1 trillion business. They sell 17,000 new cars a year in parts and service. Altogether, a $1 trillion business. The average car is $37,000, but the average gross profit is $2,000 or less. Before I go any further, are there any car dealers in our midst?
And you meant 17 million cars, not 17,000.
Pardon me. Yeah, I should have said 17 million cars. Pardon me.
Any car dealers?
No car dealers.
There's one.
One car dealer. You're not a car. One.
You should lead, maybe.
Yeah, because I'm going to give away a few secrets here, and if there are any car dealers, I want to be careful about what I say. Car dealers are franchises, and there are about 16,000 car dealers who I said before were selling 17 million new vehicles plus used. But what's interesting, and most people don't understand this is that they are franchises typically owned by individual entrepreneurs or families. Only 10% of the business is owned by public car dealerships. So how many people here have actually bought a car? Very few people buy their cars. Very few. It's interesting. Car dealers are protected legally, and this has a lot to do with their attitudes, by state franchise laws, which prevent manufacturer ownership of car dealerships. Now that's being litigated thanks to Tesla. But right now, that's the modus operandi of this industry. Not only is it protected by state franchise laws, but also they have a very strong lobbying group called the National Association of Dealers in Washington who lobby for car dealers. So it's a very strong, politically oriented group of folks. And I don't think that enough attention has been drawn to their role in the distribution system. They employ over 1.1 million people. On the average, they employ 70 people, so you can imagine the clout that they're going to exercise in Washington. The average dealer, and this is what they probably don't want you to know, the average dealer brings in revenue about $60 million a year. Now, they're not particularly profitable because they're really middlemen. They pass through the product from the manufacturer to you, the buyer. But the average car dealer makes $1.5 million a year, or about 2.4% on revenue. Now, this is what's interesting about car dealerships. Most people would think that they make their money from selling cars, right? In fact, 58%, we're all about data here, so I'll read off some data points to you. The average revenue is 56%, the average gross profit, revenue is 56% of total revenue for new vehicle sales, but only 21% of gross profit. Does anybody know where they really make their money?
Yes.
Well, obviously, you do it. It's actually in parts and service, which is only 13% of revenue, but 42% of gross profit. And here's what's really interesting. They make 3.7% of the top line revenue in financing cars, what we call F&I, which is essentially finance. Only 3% of revenue, but 24%. They make more money financing their cars than they do selling them. Now, it's not all rosy. There's a tremendous amount of competition. But, and the manufacturers have been squeezing the profitability on new car sales in many different ways. But the dealer is in the middle. So, in one hand, the manufacturer pushes the inventory to them. They buy the inventory. Essentially, they're the customers of the manufacturers. And then the customer is the one who pulls the product. What I'm trying to say is the car dealer is almost indifferent to what we're all talking about here. We asked for a raise of hands, and there were no car dealers here. And Alan and I tried to get car dealers here. They are more oriented to how much are they going to sell today and the month. They've seen so many challenges to their model. That retail model has existed for what, 100 years? And it really hasn't dramatically changed. Almost everything you can think of in the retail world has changed, but not the model for car dealers. It's still entrepreneurial, family-run businesses, the way it's always been, and they've seen challenge after challenge, and they're not going to worry about everything that we're all talking about here. They're going to sell the product that the manufacturer delivers to them. They're going to finance the product, and the customer will tell them what they want. The manufacturer does the advertising and the marketing. The car dealer does the selling, and that's what they're most interested in. So it's interesting. There are a few larger dealership groups that are interested in what we're talking about. I think Holman is here, or there'll be Holman which is a New Jersey-based, one of the biggest dealership groups in the country, is going to be demoing one of their BMWs. But by and large, they're just not particularly concerned, but they have tremendous political clout. Tremendous political clout. And to that point, and I'll finish with my comments, to that point, just yesterday, it was announced, and you can understand why they're not going to worry about something 5 years down the road. Yesterday, some of us who are car fans were looking forward to the brand new Audi A8, which was going to be supposedly have the latest technology for safe driving. And it's called Traffic Alert. And yesterday they said that the brand new A8 will be deleted from our country. They're not going to bring the newest A8s over here. They're confused with the regulations and what the liabilities might be from the insurance world. And so if you've read the news, they're not bringing it. And the car dealers are saying if they bring it, we'll sell it. If they don't, we won't. And that's pretty much the attitude. With that, that's my speech. Thank you.